A new projector designer has entered the home cinema space, Voxflix, and they've sent me one of their most stylish models, the VF71, to review and for you to check out. And with this, the spectrum for choosing a projector continues to expand because it's the most popular device, and I've tested this one at night during the day on a white background and on a gray background, and everything is recorded. So, without further ado, let's watch the video. This will be the first Voxflix projector I'm going to review, and I hope it will wow me. At least its appearance is promising as it looks elegant. Upon opening the box, we find an HDMI cable, a power cable, a startup guide, and a remote control. And finally, the projector itself, which is a bit heavy but arrives well protected with foam on both sides and a scratch-resistant bag. The new Voxflix VF71 is an LCD projector that at first glance looks very well presented, with a very elegant two-tone finish. On the front, it has an infrared receiver, a micro camera for autofocus, and the 5cm glass lens. On the sides, it has the obligatory vents for the heat sink. On the back, it has all its connections, which are a power socket with ground connection, a 100 megabit Ethernet port, a VGA input, a USB 2.0 input, an HDMI output, an analog audio and video output, a headphone output, a USB Type-C port, and the rear IR sensor. On the top, it has a physical power button, and on the bottom, it has a screw for adjusting the projection angle and 4 rubber feet. It also has this slot from which we can remove a dust filter for washing and cleaning. Apparently, it's a projector with decent specifications and a mid-range price, but the important thing will be to demonstrate that it projects well. But first, let me tell you that Gamsgo has returned, revamped, and is the best platform where you can find profiles much cheaper, whether they're for work, music, anime, English, or your favorite streaming and video platforms. And thanks also to TV Club, the new platform, sister to Gamsgo, but focused on other services for all channels worldwide. Scan this QR code or enter from the link in the description for secure access. Choose your service and try it out. Oh, and don't forget to include my discount coupon, Javix. I'm already using it on my TV, my computer, and my phone, and it's working great. The VF71 is a new mid-range projector from a brand I haven't heard much about, Voxflix. But at first glance, it boasts a well-thought-out, minimalist, two-tone, and elegant design. Like most projectors in this range, its resolution is Full HD. And while the brand doesn't specify its actual brightness, I think it's somewhere between 800 and 1000 ANSI lumens. This projector integrates Android 12, which is fast but not certified, and also integrates 2 GB of RAM and 32 GB of storage with several useful connections such as an Ethernet port and VGA, and also integrates Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.0, which are fast and modern wireless connections. You can find it on AliExpress for just over $220, and I think its specifications and functions are completely in line with its price and range. The VF71 is a mid-sized projector, about 26 by 23 centimeters and 11 centimeters high. It has a horizontal format and integrates proprietary firmware from the same brand, Voxflix. Upon startup, you receive a message guiding you on how to remove and clean the dust filter. As I mentioned before, the operating system is Android, and the interface is the second most used on most non-certified projectors. This interface is unlicensed and free, and therefore it is used by any brand that releases a projector, but it is relatively fluid. From the settings, you can choose the video sources you want to project, which can be up to 4. Manage, read, and play files from memory cards connected to the USB port, and the configuration options whose interface I've already reviewed. It integrates Wi-Fi 6, and from here you can connect to 2.4 or 5G Wi-Fi networks, connect any Bluetooth device, and manage all projection options, such as corrections and 4-point adjustment. The advertisement shows a brightness of 35,000 lumens, which is incorrect because that could refer to the LED brightness and not the projector's output. The best thing for me is to measure the brightness with an instrument, and based on my experience, I can say that this is a projection of about 900 ANSI lumens, and it's a good even brightness because it doesn't have dark sides, as the previous cheaper projector had. As for light leaks, I project a black screen to see how much light can leak in, and I can see a small edge at the bottom. It's very small, but there shouldn't be any, and the transition between colors is relatively good, but I'll measure this on full screen later. I've projected this VF71 at 120 inches and the images are better than I expected. In any LCD projector, the image quality is largely due to its internal LCD screen. And I've seen dozens of LCD screens for projectors. I can distinguish between mediocre and high quality LCD screens, and the most common feature highlighted in an LCD panel's specifications is the percentage of NTSC color space coverage. A panel can cover a percentage of the NTSC spectrum, which indicates how vivid and accurate the colors it can display. The higher that percentage, the better the color reproduction. For entry-level projectors and those under $100, that percentage is 40% NTSC or lower and is typically lower than in high-end models, but hopefully sufficient for presentations or casual entertainment. The VF71 has a 60% NTSC LCD panel. It's not perfect, but it looks good. The downside is that on a projector that costs close to $200, 4K detection is missing. If I go to the quality option in the YouTube player, I notice that I can't find 4K resolution even though this video is 4K. Of course, I'm not looking for 4K projection with a full HD projector, but at least I'll get it detected. In any case, native Full HD resolution is more affordable, and provides a very good projection experience. This is an uncertified projector, and that's something that can be solved with an Amazon Fire Stick. This not only makes it certified, but it also makes it much faster since the Fire Stick's processor is better. Additionally, the Fire Stick's interface is smoother and better designed, although in this case, the idea is to demonstrate that the ports on this VF71 projector work very well. And speaking of ports, I'll take the opportunity to connect this instrument to measure the input lag or reaction time of the projector for use with a video game console. And as you can see, the input lag isn't very promising as it's above 100 milliseconds. Therefore, I don't recommend it for competitive gaming but only for casual gaming. A classic test on this channel is to project at the maximum screen size, which is about 150 inches. This is the maximum I can project in my living room. I'd like to project more, but I don't have more space. Also, I think it's a giant screen size. For a normal home, most people won't project at this size, especially since there aren't any screens of this size, and if they do exist, they're too expensive. There are disadvantages to projecting so large, such as the fact that you need a large, clean, unobstructed wall, you need space to stand much further back to see well, and obviously the reduction in brightness of the projector. I only do this for purely technical reasons and for testing, but if you have everything you need to project this large, then it will also be an incredible experience. At 150 inches is also a very good experience with this VF71. Up to here, it seems to me that it delivers what it promises, but the truth is I can't tell you anything about its duration, much less guarantee you that the projection won't get stained, since that is the disadvantage of all LCD projectors, and for that reason, they are cheaper than DLP projectors. The good news is that those stains can be fixed economically, while the failure of the black spots in a DLP projector is not cheap to repair, since in that case the DMD chip must be changed. With this screen size, you can perform better tests for sharpness, color transition, contrast, and many other useful pattern tests to calibrate the projection image. Additionally, at this size, we can better see the color projection, since the colors will be better distributed throughout the image, and we can see if they are homogeneous or not. Based on what I'm observing, it seems to me that the VF71 performs fairly well. Text projection is also good, easy to read, and the brightness is moderate on a white screen. This will be sufficient for any presentation or lecture in a semi-dark environment. Finally, I decided to project it on my gray screen since many have told me that I am no longer using this screen. This other side of the screen has a 140-inch reflective gray fabric, and due to its reflective characteristic, it greatly improves the brightness and contrast of the projection, since even with ambient light, you can see better than on a white screen. Of course, it has its disadvantages, but at least by reflecting the brightness, it wins. And if I now turn off all the lights, this VF71 projector shows us a better projection. Although this isn't a feature unique to the projector, most projectors will enhance its brightness on a reflective gray screen. And if there are any doubts about being able to use this projector during the day, well, this is how it looks projected on a reflective gray screen around 2 p.m. and with plenty of ambient light. I think it looks more or less like afternoon or daytime in a room with curtains. But if you're poor like me, you'll always be using a reflective gray screen and always looking straight ahead because these screens aren't very good for wide viewing angles. And if you don't want that problem and you have the money, you can buy a better quality Fresnel screen. But anyway, here are the images so you can see if it's worth it for you to buy and project it with or without the gray screen. And what did you think of the VF71 projector? I really like the two-tone design and the price of around $200, which is about average considering its features. But be careful, this is just another option. Each of you will decide what you can afford and what you can afford. Thanks for watching the video. Help me and let's democratize technology. See you in the next video.